Well, here's my gallon jug of Dex-Cool that I made, and as you can see, I used about that much. Refilled my container about that much, up until where it says the cold line right here. As you can see, it's lost that much in a period of 2 days. So I have a leak, and I went under the car, looked under the car, there's an obvious leak, and it is leaking at the quick connect fitting. This is a quick connector, and it's leaking at the bottom of the fitting underneath. It's not leaking right now because the system is cool and it's non-pressurized, but as soon as I start the car up and the system starts to pressurize, that's when it starts to leak. This hose ends up crossing over and going in on the left side, and then this hose here goes straight onto the right side. This hose here on the right side, which is the culprit, the one that goes into the firewall on the right side, I should say. I want to say GM part number 9128706, and the one on the left side is 9128704. And you can find those probably for about 20 bucks online, but what I'm going to try and do is just replace it. I went up to the auto parts store, got a length of 3/4 inch inner diameter hose. I'm going to try and replace it. I got a 1.5 foot of hose for $3 because I got a pack of $3 hose clamps, so $6 in total. Now, one video that I saw on this exact issue for Saturn L-Series on YouTube was he took a hacksaw and cut off this hose. It's kind of hard to see here, but this hose here ends up flanging out. It bulges out right here. The difference in diameter between here and there, and that's because it has to flange out to become part of that quick connect system. So right here is larger than right here. So my hope is if I were to hacksaw this right here, then I could just take the rest of this hose, take that quick connect fitting off any which way that I can, get that whole quick connect system out, and then you're left with the male fitting, a male barb that comes out from the firewall. And then you just pop the hose on, put a worm clamp around it, tighten it down, and you're done. The problem with these hoses isn't the hoses themselves, it's the quick connect system itself. The quick connect fitting on the hose is failing and leaking. And if this was a regular hose secured by a worm clamp, I would not have this problem. There would not be a leak right now. So the problem is their stupid quick connect system. If you look online, you'll see many instances. This is a known issue for the Saturn L-Series vehicle. Those quick connect fittings at the firewall leak. Not just on this side of the firewall as well. On the opposite side of the firewall in the cabin where the heater core is. So that's the problem that I'm having with this vehicle right now. It went from a how to make sure you're in coolant video to why do I even have to replace coolant in the first place? You have to ask yourself when you're replacing coolant in a vehicle, why? It's a sealed system, a 100% sealed system. If you have to refill your coolant or your oil or your transmission fluid or any other fluid except for windshield wiper fluid, all of that stuff is supposed to stay in the car permanently 100%. You're never supposed to lose fluid, period. So if you lose fluid and you have to replace some fluid, you have to ask yourself why. Where is it going? And obviously the first place to look is underneath the car. Look on the ground. In this case, there's a nice big pool, nice big puddle down there. And here's the 3/4 inch inner diameter hose that I got. I've got a 1.5 foot of this from my local auto parts store. 3/4 inch, 19.1 millimeter. And it even says heater hose. Yay, made in the USA. My sister's boyfriend got me this hat for Christmas. Got a little light on it. It's pretty cool. First thing we need to do is jack up the car. Okay. Now that I have the car jacked up, that should afford me enough room to get my pan under there because we're going to be spilling a lot of coolant. Dirt. So I can go in that way. Okay, now to get this connector off, I'll post a diagram that shows on the back side of here a little tab, and you have to push that tab upwards while you slide down the collar. Push up on the tab and then you pull the collar back. Because I haven't drained the coolant, that is going to start gushing out of the heater core. When all of that fluid is evacuated out of the heater core, that's why we have our drain pan down there. I don't know if you can see it, it's directly below here. Hopefully that'll catch a lot. I do expect the floor to get messy. It's going to go everywhere. There's nothing I can do about that. There's really no good way to get this hose out of the way. You just got to bend it over best you can. Try and situate that out of the way. Okay, here's the moment of truth. I'm gonna reach around here and I'm going to try and disconnect this hose and then pull it straight up. And the coolant from the heater core will leak out over here, but I'm trying to avoid spilling everything out of the engine. Let's see if I can get that lock. Okay. Disconnected the collar. Come on. Oh, there we go. Yep. fluid is coming out of the heater core. And I'm holding this hose up. Yeah, there is some getting here and there. Oh shit. That's a lot. I'm thinking maybe I should plug that with something. I don't have anything to plug it with. Oh, come on, stop. Well, the good news is I'm pretty sure that this entire hose will actually reach. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna, I guess I should have did this first. Yeah, it's probably just easier to snip the line. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this line before it starts to flange out. You see how it gets larger up here? So before it starts to flange, so about right there. So now we just have a hole. Put your hose clamp on. And just get that sucker on there. Nope. Oh, great. Okay, now we have the old hose off. Slip the metallic sleeve. The hose clamp. Put the hose clamp over the end. Hopefully, this one will go on. Aha! And the hose is pinched. It does not like that angle. The hose is pinched right under here. Basically has to be perfect. So I'm going to cut off just a little tiny bit. Now these are metal fittings, so you can wind these down pretty tight. Just have to watch about stripping the screw heads. Whew. What a pain in the ass. Well, in summary, don't make the same mistakes that I did. Get your 3/4 inch inner diameter hose cut first. It's going to take about 14 inches of 3/4 inch hose, and it has to be precise. It has to be to the inch. Too short, you're not going to get it on. Too long, you're not, and the hose is going to crimp up. This metal sheathing helped a little bit. What I would recommend, and using this as a learning experience, is take off that quick connect hose as fast as you can, and then get your hose and put it on there as fast as you can, and then point the hose up so all the coolant isn't going to drip out. I lost a lot of coolant, and it went all the way, all over the place. I lost a lot of coolant because of that. I did not expect all of the coolant to drain out. I thought it would only evacuate the heater core. I was totally wrong. It evacuated pretty much all of the coolant out of the system up to the height of the heater core outlet, which is basically most of it. Might have emptied about half. If I had to guess, I would say about half. If I had to do it over again, using this as a learning experience, that's what I would do. I did end up cutting off the quick connect. Here you can see the quick connect. Now I will give GM credit that this whole quick connect system is based on male fitting that comes out of the firewall and a standard male fitting that comes off of the engine here. So you can put a worm clamp around it. So thankfully that whole quick connect system wasn't completely freaking stupid. And the reason that the hose failed was because of the quick connect system. If that quick connect system wasn't there and it was just these regular hose clamps, that hose would not have leaked in the first place, and I wouldn't have to do any of this. So their whole quick connect system, yeah, I mean, is it really that quick? No. Is it any quicker than regular worm style clamps? No. Is it any more efficient, user friendly? No. So why do they do it? Again, profitability for GM techs, because you see that and you get confused, and the DIYer isn't going to want to mess with that. That's all it comes down to. Has nothing to do with how easy it was, because that actually took me 2 times longer just to replace that one heater hose than it would if it was just worm clamps. So again, hate you, GM. I guess that's the radiator cap. Yeah, it says pressurized 20 psi. 20 psi? Holy shit. That's going to raise the boiling point. That's going to raise the boiling point about 60 degrees.